Hey guys, and welcome back to the Path to Exile Podcast, episode 40, partner with Mobilytics. I am Cal Torek, and joining me per usual is Miso, Shiro, and Dead Rabbit. And if you're new here, we have our audio-only format on Apple Music and Spotify. So if you can't watch us on YouTube and you want to listen to us while you're at the gym or something, check us out over there, and we would appreciate the rating. This week, we got Darth Microtransaction back. Thanks for coming back on, man. It is an exciting time, actually almost perfect timing for they come on. We got a lot of big announcements. How have you been over the last several months?
Thirsty for teasers is how I've been over the last several months, and it seems like we're gonna be a little bit thirsty for a little bit longer still.
Yeah, we'll dive into Return of the Ancients quickly. We got the announcement date that the actual release is May 27th, so the June sayers weren't completely
29th,
right.
29th.
29th, yeah. The 29th, almost June, but not quite, unfortunately. Let's just dive into all the good news we've been getting since there's a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to open up with is, so it doesn't get lost in all the news, is something we've complained about on this podcast a lot is GGG's communication. Miso was just talking about how sometimes they can be a little bit misleading and stuff. And I think the announcement of their... just straight up lies sometimes. I think the addition of this, hopefully, community manager, GGG Kelly, is going to be a big change in how the company communicates with us. DM, were you around during any of the old era of PoEs, old communications and how they've evolved over time?
Bex. Sorry, sneeze. So I joined in Total League. To give you an idea, I was around with Bex. I mean, Bex is the reason I was actually originally sponsored by Path of Exile. Nice. My understanding, I think it was her husband was watching the stream or something, mentioned, she's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, and then I got a sponsorship through them. So yeah, no, I'm familiar with Bex. I started in Total League, which I don't know how many years ago that would. I want to say 3-ish, somewhere around there years ago was Total League. So I wouldn't call that OG. I'd say I still am fairly newer in the, since it's a game that you're still new until you have 25,000 hours or whatever the line is now. But yeah, that's when I started.
Gotcha. Whenever we talk about whenever we complain about as newer PoE players, the communication breakdowns that GGG has, and sometimes the lack of information, the lack of updates they give, we always get told there's reasons why it has ended up this way. Just from your perspective, are you excited to see this return to, I guess, hopefully a more communication base between the community team and the community itself?
I mean, I kind of don't really see it as a return. I feel notably, I've played a lot of games where you just don't get fucking anything. The people don't talk to you. You don't know. The patches are dog shit when they do come out. So, for me, I always kind of thought they did a good job. That's just how I've always seen it. So I don't really see the communication's falling apart. I think it's always the same thing. They're struggling to make the game. It seems blatantly obvious they've been struggling to make the game since the launch. New communications person, sure. Kelly seems to be great at it. She's already, fucking with all of y'all on Twitter already. I saw in Miso's video, he's like, oh, she liked my thing. Now she unliked it. Oh my God. It's she's got you all right in her pocket where she wants y'all. And is fucking with everyone with the Gladiator games. So she's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's great. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't think it matters at all. I don't think any of that matters, because it's great new communication, got a new PR lady. Sure, fantastic. I don't think that changes development of the game. I think the only thing that actually matters about when we get content and when they can announce shit and when we get teasers is where they are along in the pipeline. I think they're just struggling to make the game.
Yeah,
I have to agree, because I the day today for me was also when I woke up this morning and I saw the news, and it was pandemonium, right? No, when I saw everything, I kind of went, is it really that bad? Because some people like Miso, I'm gonna have to call you out like this. You had broken promises stream and whatever. I don't feel that way. I have to say, I don't feel like there were broken promises or lies or whatever. I just feel like we're all getting a little bit crazy these days. I feel like I'm 100% in the camp of letting them cook and everything. I think we're all overdoing it a little bit and going oh, this just fits the bill with them, and they are delaying and they do this on purpose. I don't think that's the case. I feel like we're acting we're all acting a little bit spoiled right now, and we should chill a little bit. And I definitely think 2 hours into the reveal stream, 2 hours into the league launch, everyone's gonna forget about this anyway. No one is gonna care about 2 weeks delay. No one is gonna care. Everyone's gonna be 30 hour into their first gaming session when the update actually releases. I don't know. I don't like the polemic side of this argument, but yeah, Miso is gonna say the other side.
I mean, so first off, when Bex was around, I think like in terms of like the official communication, it wasn't that different from what I could tell. They did like we were talking about how they did the experimental like little bit where they actually explained the patch notes and stuff like that and why they did certain things. But I think they dropped off that pretty quickly. From what I remember, which not much. I'm old and memory fades, and also I wasn't taking the game that serious. I wasn't like that sweaty back then. So I wasn't looking at every single piece of communication. From what I could tell, Bex was really active on the socials, and like that was kind of a big thing, and people were really happy about that, like Reddits and like all the other stuff. In terms of like actual official lines of communication from the forums and stuff, it seemed pretty similar to now. So that's what I would comment about it. But in terms of like broken promises or whatever, right? So I kept leading off with this like this, I guess, disclaimer. So I am very, very excited for the new, the patch, and I think they are going to absolutely cook with this one, right? I think when we have a hit, like when we give GG time, they will make something really, really good. So I have no doubt we are going to be super happy when the patch comes out, right? But we do have to take a look at everything, because people. Here's the thing, right? There is a lot of times when you look at a game and there is a lot of toxic positivity here and there and whatever. And for me, I just call things out when I see it. And what I see is a string of broken promises. Patch 0.1, right, was supposed to come in June. That didn't happen. That got pushed to November. That didn't happen. Came out in December, right? So that was one big thing. Patch 0.2, I don't really care about this as much, but it's such a small petty thing, so I don't really care. But we do have to. It's another point on the graph, right? They promised us every single ascendancy was going to be buffed, and it did. And then last minute they pulled the plug and it nerfed everything, right? Another one, patch 0.3, they promised Druid, they didn't bring it. Patch 0.4, they promised Endgame, they didn't bring it. Patch 0.5, they promised what was it? They promised the 4-month whatever, and I even went back to the quote that Jonathan said. It was like, it's gonna be consistent and it's gonna be every single patch from now on or something like that. He went literally like the full on like, hey, it's gonna be consistent every single patch. It's always
he said
happening.
We'll prioritize dates over content.
Yeah, and but he also literally said it's gonna be consistent in every single patch, right? On the 4-month cycle and prioritizing dates and over content, right? Like literally super bold saying that. And then also again, the little the newsletter that they send out, the announcement in February, where they're like, oh, full release plans or full plans released in late April on top of endgame content, and like all the endgame content is revealed, and also the league mechanic, right? They're not doing that outside of live stream. So then the live streams in May. So literally every single league, a huge promise made and broken. Over promising, under delivering every single league. And this is like job 101. When you go into your office, first day in the job, you talk to your manager. A lot of times it's like, hey, don't promise something you can't deliver on. Under promise, over deliver. That's like the key, right? And so imagine being in a workplace, you're given like every single quarter, you're given a project and you're under delivering every single time. You promise something and you never deliver on it, right? You're going to get fired. I guarantee you. So it's like, for me, I am really, like I said, preface all of this, I am super excited and I think they are going to absolutely cook. But it's been a complaint that I've had even before today. I've talked about this before on the podcast. They constantly over promise, under deliver. And I remember back then too about like the GG sentiment and like, over time people are gonna get pissed off and like stop putting their faith in GG, right? I haven't done that yet, but that is a huge amount of what people say in my comments, like on YouTube, on Twitch. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't trust GGG with what they say, or it's like, yeah, it's gonna be delayed. Of course, I knew this, right? Like a lot of people don't trust GGG on this one now. And it's something to note. Like we can't just brush it off and be like, oh, we're overblowing it. You don't want to like whatever, right? I think it's important that it's something that happens consistently every single patch, and we need to call it out when it happens. That way they stop over promising under delivering. And it's not a hard, like I say it's not hard. It's probably very hard to do it, but like it's something they needed like actually figure out. Something's going on there. Something's wrong, right? And when every single patch you're promising something, you're not delivering on it, that's a problem.
I just don't think that we're saying different things. At least I don't think me and you are saying different things. It's like, I see what you're saying. I don't disagree with anything you just said.
Agreed.
The thing that I'm saying is like, I don't think communication changes any of this. In fact, I'd argue they're communicating.
Oh, no, it definitely doesn't.
What's happening is like they go
doesn't.
in there and they're like, we got a new communication person. Great. What's she going to do? She's going to go ask the people who are making the game.
Yeah.
When do we
100%.
think this is coming out? Can I start doing teasers? Yeah, well, we're working. I think
yeah,
end of April. Yeah, you go end of April. I think we got end of April. So you go out there and say end of April, and then like, fuck, here we are again. Can't do. I think they're just struggling to make the game. It's just that they get to the deadline, they're like, it's not done. It's not done. What do we do?
Yeah,
and that's making the game. I mean, what the fuck? I agree with you, but it's like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to sit here and be like, fuck you. Where's my game? Like, I mean, what realistically are we supposed to do? We can call it out. I don't think that's going to make them work any harder.
Oh,
they're trying to make the game. Like
it's just more of like a future thing. Like, hey, can you please just stop over promising and under delivering?
We can ask them to stop talking, but like that's
exactly what you'd be asking. Exactly, you'd be asking them to stop talking. Like, well, I get what you're saying from a business perspective. Like, yes, it is bad from a fundamental business perspective to overpromise and underdeliver. But you also have to, like, from his perspective, from Jonathan and Mark's perspective, this is also a creative work for them. Like, this is not just like them like going to the job and like writing down numbers and like at the computer. Like, this is something they're so absurdly passionate about. A lot of this stuff is just them being excited to talk about the game. Like, and if like you ask them to not give these moments to us, like that's just asking them to not talk. Like it would lead to an environment where we don't ever get teasers. And I think again, I'm with the DM 100%. I agree with both of you essentially. Like what you're saying is 100% right, but I am okay existing in this world where we sometimes go, damn, like we got a little misled.
It's not sometimes, it's every time. It's every time.
Sure, all the time. It's every time, but like it doesn't ever ruin, like, I don't know, it never ruins my experience.
I'm
like,
not saying it ruins, I'm not saying it ruins
I'm not losing
my experience.
trust in Jonathan or GGG whenever this stuff happens.
I think we will not lose trust, but I think a lot of people will. And a lot of people have already. And that's the problem.
I think realistically, because there's the people that are losing trust are the people that are already like gigging into this shit. All of us that are literally balls deep at this point, we're content creators. Of course, we're pissed off. Where the fuck's my content? Like, I got a 6-month gap to stall. Twice, probably, because 1.0 is probably December. That's fucking horrible
that's another thing
for me, okay? About. So, like, I mean, that for us, our point, it's fucking terrible, okay? But the people that all they do is play PoE2, like, every now and then I actually go into the PoE2 Discord, and I literally just hop in the voice channel. I do this about once every other day, and I'll sit there for about 20 minutes just to kind of, like, get the vibe of people that are still playing the game and what they're doing. 100% of the time, they're literally just running Temple over and over again still. I don't know why, but, like, that's they're still doing it. So, like, those people absolutely are getting pissed off, okay? But the real threat, I don't actually think is all like, oh, they're losing faith, because like we're all going to play the shit anyway. Like I know you say hearing me get salty, we're all going to log in, okay? Like the people that they're actually losing are the people that are coming back to like check out every league update. Like, oh, I wonder what was that game? Path of Exile 2. Like I kind of liked that game. I want to play again. What do they got coming up? Oh, not for another 2 months. Maybe I'll check back and they forget about it and they go play, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto or whatever. So like that, those are the people that they need to have consistent enough updates to be able to bring into the fold to become longtime players. So like they'll lose the people that are on the verge of like being able to come back time and time again to get addicted to the game and start playing it every time. But the realistic is they can fuck around until 1.0. If they continue to do this after 1.0, that is actually going to be a significant problem. At that point, I'm going to be like, okay, you really have to get it together, because 1.0 is when they get one more big marketing push. It'll probably be in December. That's what we're all assuming. all of the people that haven't played the game maybe since launch will come back to check it in. You'll get the whole fucking category flooded with people again for the 1.0. I'm sure they're going to do all their marketing and paid advertising and all that shit. So that's the moment for like everyone to focus on the game again. And at that point, they absolutely have to like you can't have any fuck arounds. You have to have a rock solid cadence at that point, because then all of those people need to be able to come back consistently and have a steady timeline, just like they've preached before, because of what Crypt taught them in the beginning. They constantly go back to that point, right? They mentioned that. So I think they kind of, if they have to do like the 6-month league and then 6-month league, and they're kind of like, you know, hustling to get to 1.0 out, sure. Like, I mean, I get it. I don't think it's like the end of the world, but like after 1.0, like I would be on the same page with you there, where like the cadence really becomes quite important at that point.
Mhm. I mean, again, for me, it's not about the cadence. It's not about the content. It's about just like, hey, don't overpromise, underdeliver. I know you guys are saying, oh, they can't, they need to talk, they whatever. Just don't make bold claims then. Just, you know, be like, hey, we're working on this. This is happening in the background, blah, 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 blah. Don't make a certain claim like, hey, we're going to be releasing this on this date, or we're going to be doing this, like, you know, 4-month cycle for sure, right? And then just literally 1 league later, already break that promise. Like, for that is it for me, the bottom line. It's that. And again, I don't think it's the communication problem. That's not like the communication person's problem, right? Like last night on stream, people were like, oh my God, Kelly's already coming and I'm messing up. I'm like, no, she's just the messenger, guys. Don't shoot the messenger. That's not her problem.
She's done a phenomenal job. She's
doing
her job's
great
to play mind games with everybody, basically, and it's perfect. She's already stirring up all kinds of conspiracy theories. I love it.
How did that happen? I didn't get any of that because I don't have Twitter or anything
she
else. No
tweeted out
Reddit.
an image of Maximus from the movie Gladiator, and since that
I
movie's
saw that
called
in my chat. Yeah.
Gladiator,
Oh God.
you know that must mean Gladiator's coming.
Yeah, that basically means the Gladiator's coming. That doesn't mean the whole quote about "Are you entertained?" Right? That must mean that, right?
No matter what side of the
100%.
coin it is, whether she underthought the tweet or overthought the tweet,
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
100%.
Like,
Okay.
it's awesome no matter what.
Oh, I need to install Twitter, so I know that kind of stuff
No, you're
in
good.
the beginning
You
now
can
as
skip.
well. Like I have to say, just to close out that point as well,
Yes,
because I
please.
think we shouldn't harp around that too much. And Darth said it as well, to Miso's point, even though it seems like we're on like opposite sides here, I don't disagree with that kind of stuff. I just feel like Darth already said, I feel like the stop under delivering part is not something that is just like I don't think they choose to do that.
I mean,
yes, the
nobody chooses
overpromising
to do
part,
it, right?
yeah, no one chooses to do that. I think it just shows that there is a big part of GGG biting a little bit more than they could chew, or whatever it's called. And yeah,
And they
I
shouldn't.
think it's just gonna be, and they should, and it's gonna be, yeah, hopefully that's gonna improve in the future, and there's a learning experience. I just think, and this is a personal thing for me, I'm just not the type to feel like, and I'm not saying anyone that's saying the opposite is doing that, but I personally, I just don't feel that sort of entitlement towards that, to be like, oh, you owe this to me, or like you said this, and because in the end for me, it's I take things as they come, and then once the game also is out and I'm like enjoying my time with it, it's like I most of the time I've forgotten about all of that. So I want the product that is delivered to be good, and everything else for me is just side noise. And I have full trust that the product that is going to be delivered and end of May is going to be amazing. And then I will personally not care as much anymore. I would wish that for the future it's actually going to be a 4-month cycle, but I can't do anything about it now, and I can cry all I want about the 2 months more into this league now, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. And yeah, feedback is important, but I think we shouldn't be polemic about it and overdo it on that side, because that's not going to lead to anything.
Let's take that transition where you mentioned that you want 4-month leagues. DM alluded to the fact that if ExileCon is this year and we're all expecting 1.0 to release after ExileCon, that would not give us time for another 4-month league. It is possible that if we are going from 0.5 to 1.0, that would be another 5-month, 6-month like type league scenario. I mean, are you guys are we all expecting 1.0 after after ExileCon? Is that like just December is got to be 1.0, right? It just makes sense.
I mean, it's kind of the why would there be an ExileCon without a immediate release after, right? Why there's no. I don't think there's any other way around that, right? What would be the alternative to that?
Yeah, it has to be a large announcement. The obvious large elephant in the room for an announcement is the official release. I doubt it would be in November. Grand Theft Auto 6 is in November. That would just be fundamentally a very stupid play to do it like directly after, so it's going to be December.
You don't think there? What do you think the chances of like us getting 0.6 like a month before that, and a lot of ExileCon is announcing 1.0, which is in like January or February? You don't see any chance that happens?
I think the percentage is exactly 0.
Yeah. Mentioned this before, but they said the game was going to come out in 2025, right? They said it was going to come out within the 6 months to a year. It didn't happen. So I think pushing it another year is really pushing it.
Agreed. It's 2 years of EA. I don't think they want this to be the forever EA game. I think they want this shit out by now.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Another broken promise.
Me so. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. How do you think they handle the league then? Do you think we're good? Like, do you think it's too early in early access to do like weird Phoresia type mini leagues, or are we just expecting another 0.5 buckle up? It's gonna be a long one.
I could see a world in which we get updates like we did in 0.2. Remember in 0.2 how we got like a kind of a mid-league update that had like some unique items, etc. drop? I could see them just sort of like adding some content to chase, etc. in the league. If it is going to be a 6-month league, to be fair, we just had that in 0.4. Like 0.4 is a 6-month league going into this release, basically. I mean, a little less, but yeah, basically the same. Because of that, they didn't do anything this league. I mean, they did the second wind, I guess. I think that was more of like an answer to an economic impact as much as like an event out of boredom of people needing something to do. So, I could see them doing something, but like maybe they're just gonna let it sit. I mean, they let this one sit. They're not doing anything right now. Like they could have announced, hey, it's May 29th, but we've got an event to hold you over. Like they didn't do that. So I mean, yeah, it's 50-50, dude. Choose which side of the coin you're on. I'm not sure, man.
Yeah.
That was like my guess a little bit as well. That they might even try to go back to a concept of 0.51 or maybe even 0.52 at that point, because was it 0.2 where we got the pretty big patch in 0.21, right? That was 0.2, right?
Yeah, we got the chase uniques like Last Lament, etc. There's some new additions.
And I guess if you are now already getting ready on GGG side for another 6-month league or whatever it may be, 5 months, 6 months league, you could at least immediately after the release of 0.5 shoot for a nice and good 0.51 update to like revitalize the league a little bit, maybe even add content or whatever. There was like a text that someone quoted today that there were talks of like these chapters to this league or whatever. So there is definite ways to make a 6-month league not seem like a 6-month league, but 0.4 was the definite example of how a 6-month league can absolutely feel like a 6-month league, because the last I don't even know, like 6 weeks, 2 months even, and now we have another month to go, have been pretty atrocious. And that is not just from a content creator perspective, because that's always important to remember, because we have these very biased opinions when it comes to that, because we want to do content, right? And we want to stream the game, and we want to stream the game not when it's basically dead, and we want to make more content and new content. I have had this sentiment echoed in my chat, even from a lot of just regular players. They say also, I want to play the game, but I want to play 0.5. I don't want to play 0.4 for another 2 months. So yeah, in the end, I really, really hope that the promise, as Miso says, of 4-month leagues is gonna be adhered to in the future, because this current league has definitely shown that is absolutely needed. Absolutely, it is.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm more actually on the side of like, I don't think they're gonna do. I don't think they're gonna do like a Pharesia thing as well. I think at this point, Pharesia type events will take a development effort, because Pharesia, they changed all the ascendancies to like all these different wacky stuff, right? So it does take development effort. I would rather them focus their time on like making sure everything is polished for 1.0 and
Agreed.
trying to get everything ready out. So that's where I'm at. I think a 0.51 does make sense though, in terms of like revitalizing the league or whatever, because they are constantly working on stuff, so they could just hit the publish button. It's like, hey, we're gonna bring this stuff in as like an experimental thing. Come try it out or whatever, right? This is already content that we've made. It would have gotten published in, I don't know, 0.6 if we had that. We're gonna just release some of this and let you guys experiment and have fun with it. And really, I don't really think they care too much about like retention at some point, right? I think like the first couple of weeks of a month, right, they kind of care about retention, because if your retention's dipping the first month, right, which is where most people are coming in, then something's wrong. But after that first month, people are going to start trickling out, and I don't think they really care too much about that. They just want to make sure people return to the leagues rather than like stay playing for like the whole 6 months or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, people playing the whole 6 months, that's a very small percentage. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that if we get anything, it'd be 0.5.1. We'll have to see like what all we get announced with the 0.5 stuff. When it comes to like the release length of these leagues, like I hate the early access discussion, because at this point, to me, this game, like, I don't care what you fucking call it, early access, not early access. It's a good game. It's like a good enough game to be whatever, right? But where I give them the early access benefit of a doubt is with these league schedules. Like, until they get rid of the early access tag, I'm okay with a 5-6 months league if that's what they think the leagues need. So if we got another 6-month league, I'd be okay with it. If there's no 0.1 patch, like, there's other games to play. We all want to play this game forever and always, but like until they think it's ready for like full release, like I don't care how long the leagues take personally.
That's also kind of a point. I know it is not meant like that, the whole under deliver part. I know it's not meant like that, because you're basing it off on the stuff that was said. But I think under deliver is probably something that is hard to say for a company like GGG, because in the end, at least when you take that in a vacuum, the delivering part that GGG does always is like, it's hard to say. Once every reveal stream, especially for PV2, came out, ask anyone an hour after that and ask like, do you think they under delivered here? And most people would always say no. But it's
Well,
the side noise.
I think we were a little bit disappointed in.
I was
0.4
definitely sad when we learned we
were
getting the end game
all
in
very
0.4.
I think we were all a little bit
that one,
disappointed
yes.
in 0.4.
That one, yes.
0.4 was sad.
Yeah, in terms of the content they actually put out, though, right? When it's like
it's
whatever they
great.
put out,
Yeah,
right? It's
that's
always
what I mean.
great.
That's what I mean. I'm not saying like everything is amazing. I'm just saying like it's hard to say under deliver when they put out these stuff. But that is a good example. Like that was the take. I think we watched that thing together, so we were all like taken aback. Like that is how the stream starts. Like, oh yeah. So it's we'll see. I think 0.5, not to put any pressure here, it's going to be not make or break. I think that's too much, but it's gonna be very, very, very important for the future and how everything's going to look in the very near future, especially. So, I don't think I've ever been this excited and this also kind of nervous about a reveal, which gonna be.
That's probably why it got delayed.
Exciting.
There's a lot of expectations on this patch, but like self-inflicted, self-built up by them. But there is a lot of hype.
You know what I think the reason it actually got delayed is? is because there's so much content. The review is going to be so long. It takes that long to export the video file.
Dude,
Like all
that's
the way,
why
they needed all the way to the 7th, and they're like, "This shit's gonna. It's a 12-hour
Damn.
reveal."
That's
We
what
have
I was saying
so
about
much.
the teasers. I was like, you know what, guys? The teaser didn't come last week because the whole time they were trying to upload it on Twitter, but Elon's out here slowing things down. His servers are dying because of the size of the file. Like, it's absolutely
Damn.
insane, dude. That's why it got delayed.
That's
Surely.
funny. Let's talk about 0.5, Return of the Ancients. There was a press packet that went out. On it, it specifically says a giant fortress spanning continents has appeared in Ray class, containing mysteries and incredible challenges. Discover what lies beyond its walls. So it looks like these walls are going to be somehow influencing the Atlas. So this is going to be some way, you know, I don't know if this is the League mechanic itself, but it sounds hype as hell. Any thoughts from the lore nerds? I have no clue. I'm hyped. I see walls. I'm like, oh, cool. Attack on Titan. Let's go.
I'm not like a lore expert. My understanding is the ancients are like the precursors, the people that basically came before, and that sort of built everything. I don't really have speculation on the lore side of it. I have a rough guess on what I
Go
think
for
the
it.
mechanic actually is. So I think we're all, just to get a baseline, I think we all agree when we saw it coming out of the ground, that's the Infinite Atlas, right? Like you see, it's literally the monolith. Like you can see the different biomes, the mountains. Like they're showing the Infinite Atlas. So the Infinite Atlas is either getting revamped, reworked, whatever. They literally said revamped in game. So like they're probably doing something with the Infinite Atlas. That's literally the focus of the teaser, like you alluded to earlier. Normally they show classes if it's a class or something like that's the main focus. They show the main focus first for the teaser. They showed the Infinite Atlas. So like that's probably been the largest complaint from people about the end game anyway. So I think we're getting something there. Number 2, it's coming out of the ground. I don't know if you remember, but there was like this podcast he did. I don't remember whose podcast Jonathan was on. It was one of you guys's, and he was talking about how he was talking about actually. He was talking about how like there was a solution for the tower they were thinking about that they decided not to go. They're like, well, we weren't going to do this, but when you complete the map, then like a tower could come out of it. And I thought to myself, like, would people be less aggravated, having to chase the towers if this was a mechanic that like you didn't know was going to happen, and like you did the map and then suddenly you got it. So it's like a bonus as opposed to like a chore. And so he seemed to like that idea, right? And so like I saw that coming out of the ground here, my brain went back to that, and I was thinking like, I wonder if this is that mechanic. Like I wonder if it's you do this and you randomly, you unlocked another piece of the ancients and it like comes out of there, and you see it on the Infinite Atlas, and now you have this section that you've discovered where other shit spawns in, etc. And you like discovered, because it says ancients will rise out of it. Like the whole thing seems to be like it's coming out of the fucking ground, the Infinite Atlas. So that's kind of where my brain went immediately, because it seems somewhat similar, and that's a mechanic they've talked about before, and it's on the Infinite Atlas. It's coming out of the fucking ground. I don't know what else this could be unless they're teasing like a direct rework, and now the Infinite Atlas is basically only within like this labyrinth of a monolith. I don't know what else it would be unless you guys have theories.
Well, that sounded cool. I have no theory. I don't really have any theories. No.
Yeah.
That sounds cool though.
Oh, I have. We we talked about this earlier today because of the text that you just read with the like walls and like the challenges behind those new walls. And I always thought, and we talked about this on the podcast as well, like one of the biggest problems that the endgame currently has, that there is just like it's just that easy. There's not too much to do once you actually finish your atlas and your atlas progression. That basically is the game, because the atlas progression means that you've basically finished the game. So that could mean that that finishing the atlas progression and your atlas tree is basically now only the beginning to all the challenges that may lie between these walls. That's pure speculation, obviously, but that would be something that I personally just feel like that is the direction that this needs to be taken, because as simple as it sounds, like there just needs to be more stuff to do eventually, because that's not that can't be how that is structured, or that can't be how it ends. You finish your Atlas progression, and that's it.
Oh,
Lost him.
Uh-oh. The tinfoil hat disrupted the signals.
So much more to do afterwards, right?
you know something else I was thinking is like, okay, so in the footage they showed like the shit rising out of the ground, and they show the big focus on the. Is he coming back?
I have no clue.
we-
I think he's frozen.
He's
There
wait,
he
there
is.
he is.
There he
He's
is.
good. All right. So like, okay, I got one other tinfoil hat theory for you, Dead Rabbit, which is like, okay, so in the footage they show like the wall that opens is covering like part of the Infinite Atlas, and maybe they don't want to make the Atlas infinite anymore. So maybe it's like the Atlas is within the walls, and then you complete a section, and then like another section of walls open up, and you can kind of decide which way to go. Maybe the Atlas becomes like that labyrinth, and so you're going from sectioned off pieces of the Atlas, and to go into the next piece, you have to like be the boss or something. So like now you actually have like a destination, and then you have like, okay, you beat the boss, you unlock like another area, and you choose to go through this way, and you can, they showed like the 8 people and then the one in the middle, and eventually you beat the 8th, and you go beat like 8 different sections, and then you have like the giga boss or something. Like it could be something like that.
Yeah.
Too.
Because
One thing-
that is also like the main thing that a lot of people criticize about the Infinite Atlas. I think the Infinite Atlas as a concept is amazing, because it's basically future proofing the game for so many things, because you can always add on to it a little bit. But my main criticism of it was always that, yes, cool concept, but it just feels empty right now. And with what it's being alluded to right now, or we are speculating right now, it just might be that there's just so many more things added onto now, that we're not just traveling to these zones that we really want to do, and everything in between is like this filler content, basically. That now there's actually going to be like, oh, maybe this is like this area that I can already see, but I can't really do right now, and then this area and this area. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna take it off again now. So then.
My biggest complaint with the Atlas has always been like directional choice never matters and depth never matters. Doesn't matter if you go up, down, left, right. Doesn't matter if you go diagonal. That has no impact on the gameplay at all. And it doesn't matter how far you get from the center. I think there's a point where Atlas Citadels start spawning more frequently, but beyond that, or at least there's a point where Citadels start spawning, but beyond that, there's no point in like where you go in the Atlas. You can do spirals. You can like go back to the beginning and go a different direction. I hope this is adding something that solves that like makes distance matter, makes choice of direction matter a little bit, because that's my biggest gripe of the Atlas. Like, I like doing all the stuff that's in between. I like hunting the Citadels. I personally enjoy tower hopping. I love putting grand projects in towers and just chasing Citadels or lineage support gem Citadels, and like I've always enjoyed that. But to me, it just always feels like heartless and like the choices of direction and depth. It's just, at some point, if you go too deep, you're just making it worse on yourself, because the Atlas starts lagging, and that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the trailer stuff, the teaser stuff, is definitely hinting at stuff with the Atlas. I think it's, I don't know if it's like referring to a specific thing, like right now. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It might just be like a theme, or like a, here's like a symbolic like rise of the, this thing, and like talking about like we're getting more content is kind of more where I'm leaning. Maybe it'll be like one specific thing, but it might not be like as big as we think it is. It's just like, hey, here's like one of the pieces of content that we're getting, and this is what it is. Like and we're gonna get even more because of this. And when it comes to like the whole tower thing, about like the towers randomly coming up, I think it's right now we're actually not chasing towers. It doesn't really feel like, unless we have a grand project, right? We're kind of not really
Only
chasing
the grand
towers.
project hop.
We don't really. I was saying in the past that I feel like towers are very like bare bones right now. In fact, where there's not that much of a reason to visit them unless you have a grand project.
You said that you think the trailer doesn't allude to anything. This is like a more of like a business perspective. Like, that trailer was awesome. Like, they put a lot of money into it. You think they would put that much money into it and not have it like mean more than something like more direct? 'Cause that's where like I look at that and like, oh, this Like that's where I initially went to, was like, this means something because like this is like the most quality trailer I've seen from them yet.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't mean like it means nothing. I just mean like it might not be as big of a thing as we think it is. Like it's not like the centerpiece of this or whatever. It's like, hey, this is like a symbolic moment. Like we're gonna get like a rise of this huge structure, aka like there's a rise of a lot of content coming in. But that is gonna be one of the things included. But it might not be like this is the centerpiece of like whatever. It's
Well,
or like
we
the
also have
entire update.
cinematics between every act. I wouldn't be weird to have a cinematic going from the final act or interludes at this point when we have Act 6 to the end game. So we have some connection there because right now they're kind of disconnected. You do the interludes and you're just like, here's this atlas, like go find the fucking corruption, you fucks, leave. And then like that's all that is. Doriani, go kill Doriani. Like that's kind of weird. So it's probably, I would imagine, a cinematic that takes place is like as you enter the end game, like, the world is, the ancients arise, there's something, Palpatine's return. Get out there, boys. Like, it's probably something like that.
Mm-hmm.
A good point.
No wonder they got you as a voice actor. Can you voice that maybe? That would be amazing.
What,
Like,
I just
you
did.
get
I mean,
into
I
the
think
end
they're
game,
gonna
it's just, yeah,
Clip that.
perfect.
Cut that out
of
We can
the
just
clip.
take that. Just gonna go into that and it's gonna be DM like, yeah, you go in there now. What? Let's go. That would be perfect. I would do that right now.
Perfect. Yeah, there you go. Sign up. Call me up, GGG.
Unfortunately, there's very limited speculation we can do off of this one teaser. You did just mention corruption zones, though. I feel like that's always been since like in 0.1, the way you got your Atlas passives was they did it through maps. You had to do like tiers of map clear. You had a quest that was like clear 5 or 10 or 5 like tier 1 maps or whatever. That's how you progress it. And then 0.2, I believe, is when they added the corrupted zones. And I feel like those have been an overall, like outside of the it's cool doing the corruption in the cleanse areas for farming, but when I hear there's a lot of friction, at least from what I see in comments, about chasing them at the beginning of league starts. There's a lot of RNG to find the corruption zones, and if you're trying to get your Atlas passives and you do a corrupted area map and you die, you end up completely just whiffing those Atlas points, so some people struggle with it. I wonder if this new fortress spawning method is going to be the new Atlas passive tree points, and they're getting that away
Hopefully.
from corruption area, because corruption areas are rough for some people.
I don't necessarily enjoy it. I don't really have feelings either way, to be honest with you. They just seem like, oh, there's one. I guess I'll go, I'll go get this since I'm next to this corruption. I mean, that's pretty much all they became for me. And then maybe I get lucky and the zone has increased rarity or something. But yeah, so yeah, I never really like felt that the corruption felt like a really cool part of the end game. So it would be, hopefully it's a bit of a retooling. I would love to see the whole concept retooled, the Atlas tree retooled, the whole concept of like what we're actually chasing retooled. I hope they don't completely abandon the Infinite Atlas. I still like it. I like it in concept. I don't think in execution. I like it in function of what it is. The form is in debate. So hopefully we do see retooling there. But I wouldn't hate if Nexus went away and there was something different entirely for points, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I think everybody who says like they're definitely getting rid of, like there's no way they keep the Infinite Atlas, I'm like, I don't know. It feels like you're talking crazy there. The Infinite Atlas really is the backbone of the end game. It's like what the entire end game is built upon. They would literally just have to scrap the entire thing and throw it away if they're, going to take it away. I think there's a lot there, and I'd love to see them continue growing it and making it better.
And I don't really know what you could actually at this point in the game. Yes, you can criticize the Infinite Atlas as it is right now, but that is, I don't think GGG is satisfied with what the Infinite Atlas is right now. That is the bare bones. That is what's going to be used to then add more stuff onto that. Like we all said now as well. The concept is amazing. There just needs to be more stuff on there. To the corrupted zones and the cleanse zones, I also would like a retuning there, especially when it comes to tying, for example, rarity or quantity or effectiveness, whatever you want to call it in that regard, to like actual difficulty in the maps. So maybe if we get like these new zones or these like walled off zones or whatever it is, or like, I don't know, ancient zone or whatever it's going to be called, that it's not just going to be this, like Darth said, pretty uninteresting, oh yeah, this zone has 150% rarity, but this is actually going to be a zone where there's a special type of maps where they are much more difficult, or they are, I don't know, like PoE1, T60, T70, whatever, distilled zones. It's just much more difficult, and then that difficulty is then tied to more loot, more rarity, more effectiveness, or whatever. I just feel like that is always the better option, as opposed to just, oh, you cleanse the zone, now it has 150% rarity for 3 maps, and then you just go to the next one. That's a little bit boring, I think.
Nightmare maps. Nightmare zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's move on to build progression in PoE 2. 3 of us, I know Rabbit didn't play PoE 1, but you played Mirage League, right, DM?
Yeah, I play a bit of it.
So let's talk about build progression in PoE 2. Right now, when I'm playing PoE 2 builds, not all of them. I want to say about 95% of them, though. The progression in the build ends before I'm done leveling the character. A lot of the time, it feels like the build and the gear I'm using is kind of maxed out somewhere around like 80 to 90 range, and from there, like, there's no more evolving of the gear and the archetypes. You're just like mainly just adding on better stats, better quality rares and stuff. And when I played PoE 1 this last league, like, there's so many different stages and stages and stages. At least that was my impression. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on just build progression in PoE 2? Do you guys feel like it hits, like, the progress just ends just way too soon in terms of leveling, or am I being weird? Start with DM.
Said that you feel like the build progression ends too soon for you?
Yeah. Like, I just reach the end of my build much sooner than I would want to. Like, in PoE 1, I played a build and I was constantly evolving it past level 100, and I'm done with a build by 92, 93 in PoE 2. Like, I'm not really, like, giga optimizing it past that.
Sure. I don't necessarily have a complaint around this, because a lot of times I hear this type of stuff, but my answer always comes back to like the same thing, which is it needs more leagues. Like, I'm never surprised whenever we get to the conversations of like, there's not enough crafting in the game, there's not enough uniques in the game, there's not enough. It's like, yeah, there's not. It needs more. Like, it's the same thing I feel about like the progression. I don't think there's like a fundamental flaw for me to have a problem. Plus, the levels I don't like, and that's like a different point about progression. And I do agree the progression of the campaign feels better than the higher levels. I agree with that point also. But like, for me, it's like, I think we got slightly better progression with the Vol League mechanic, where now you have Volborns and you have some more stuff you can chase there. I think as when we got the new unique jewels, we got some more progression you could see there, and that was a new mechanic that came with the Abyss League as well. So it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There's not as much to chase, but we also just like don't have that many items yet. So it's like, do I feel satisfied with my in-game progression? No, not yet. But it's like I don't fundamentally know what I would change about this, other than it's like we have to have more chase items, of which then at those levels, and I can then be like, well, now I need to get 13 mirrors or whatever it would be in this crazy economy, so that I can get this item that's like giga rare, and this item will be introduced with the next league mechanic under a pinnacle boss chase, etc. Like we have the plus the levels with Uber Arbiter or normal Arbiter too, for instance, for the diamond. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah, I agree. There we could have more at the higher levels, but the solution for this is just we need more items, need more leagues, needs more time, unfortunately, because the game released with not a lot in it.
My take is that we don't have enough ceiling. I think that's where it is. We hit the ceiling very quickly, and we don't feel like we need to progress. There is more room to progress, right? Our characters have more room to grow. So it's not, I don't think it's a matter of like not enough items or whatever. I think we can grow, we can progress our characters, but there's not really a reason to progress it. It feels like everything I'm doing right now is like inching up numbers rather than going up, like, trying to reach that next thing. I don't have a goal to hit, right? It feels like I'm going to get to this level and then I'm going to be able to clear everything. And then there's the only reason why I'm progressing my character at this point is just to like be able to kill Arbiter like a second faster or whatever, rather than like, hey, there's like this next pinnacle content, like tier 6, like nightmare maps, or like, you know, we gotta go Searing Exarch, Uber Exarch. Like, you know, there's not that much ceiling right now to make it so that I have something to chase to grow my character. Because in Path of Exile 1, like by the time I get to, and you know, it's also because Path of Exile 1, the EXP curve is very different. People literally reach level 100 in one day, right? So there's a little bit of difference there, but it also feels like even when I'm hitting close to like the max level, because, and we're talking about equals time spent, right? Let's just say it feels like I have more to grow into because there's more content to try to beat, as opposed to Path of Exile 2, where it's like it feels like I can beat Uber Arbor at 80 something, and then after that, what else is there? What else am I chasing?
The issue is I don't think they can't add in content for you to chase with the current balance of the game. Like if they put shit above Uber Arbiter right now, the problem is the gap between the people that clear this with like cast on crit comet builds. They have to make literally billions and billions of HP for people that have like any sort of actual challenge. If we're going to like reference like PoE1, for instance, okay, you go watch someone with 20 million damage in the super fucking tanky schizo build. They're fighting Uber Arbiter. The fight's like 4 minutes or something. Like they're literally having to do the mechanics. You never see a 4-minute fight in this goddamn game. You could give them 10 times the health of Arbiter. People are doing soloing the 6-man one in half a second. The amount of power that we have is fucking nuts. So it's like what they would have to do is they would have to add a boss that's like we go from like 30 million Uber Arbiter to like 12 billion to like have, we're going to do the Diablo 4 thing, and then people are going to be hitting these numbers that are like absolutely fucking insane. And then the problem with that is in order to like have content for the people that are juicing the build so much, you have to have such a gap that no one's going to ever touch this content except the people that only have like the most giga juice shit of all time, and you're only introducing content for absolutely busted. But I think they have to like kind of, I think they have to kind of rebalance a bit of
sure.
the builds and the items, etc. before we really start. If they add in new content now, it's either going to get invalidated immediately because the people are already doing 200 million like fucking DPS already, or you have stuff that's like completely unobtainable. Like it's not in a state where you can add in, like, I know we're going to get shitload of new pinnacle bosses now, and I don't think they're going to have the balance right. And so I think basically all of the new content's going to get deleted in half a second, because I think most of the focus on this has been around like developing 0.5 and not necessarily like a major rebalancing patch of skills. So I would assume most of the content is like people are going to be exactly like they did with Kulamac. We're going to be like, oh shit, and add Zeri, both of them, 2 leagues in a row. People are like, oh shit, this boss is fucking cool. And they walk in and he's like, oh, he's dead. And then, hey, you know, we're 4 months in the league and everyone's like, oh, this hasn't, I didn't even know like I had that mechanic. Like, I mean, people are saying that about campaign bosses, you know, 2 leagues later. Some people don't know about the Act 4 Tovakai's league mechanics. He summons minions. I'm seeing people that literally had no idea he summons minions. So it's like, I'm really worried about that part in particular. I don't think the game's in a state where they can add content without immediately being invalidated.
And I think like Temple is like the perfect example for that, because I think the ceiling on Temple, at least how I guess they envisioned it, was that the Temple is just going to be too hard for you to do at some point. So that was, I think, always in their mind when you make a Temple that is going to be this crazy, like we have seen in this league, where people are just printing divines, 70, 80 divines every run or whatever. I think what they envisioned, I would say, is you guys are not even going to be able to do that content, and you can't even build up the temple that much, because with the effectiveness and everything, it is going to scale so high that the players are just not going to be able to do it. But player power is so incredibly high that people basically broke that system and were able to kill like billion HP temple mobs, just like by just running through there, just triggering COC comment over and over again, and that just completely broke the system. So yeah, like DM said, they just, player power is just, especially like in endgame. I'm talking about strict endgame, because I don't think player power is necessarily too high on a fresh character in campaign. I don't think that's the case, but it's just it's too high, and especially looking at the outliers like COC comment, right?
Or what I'm showcasing later, Odonia's Ego, which can actually reach billions of DPS, which is exactly to DM's point. Like, you would literally need D3 level bosses to like quell this current balance because some builds are capable of 1 billion plus DPS.
I wonder
Which is
what would
nuts.
happen if like no changes at all to the game. No, just in a vacuum, what I'm about to say. I wonder what will happen if plus gem levels are just outright deleted right now. Just like as a thought experiment. How all the characters would feel in the end game. Strictly talking about end game. It would completely ruin like any campaign run.
Gauzy
on a
would
fresh
kill
character.
himself, is what would happen. Gauzy would end up.
Most archetypes would suffer, but there are some very specific ones that are.
I would be just
You can get
like,
by
I'm
with a
not-
level 20
this,
gem.
This is not me saying we should do that or whatever. This is not me saying that. I would just like, just as a thought experiment, I would be interested in how that would look.
Yeah, I think minions would definitely really suffer. I don't know if there's that much on gear right now that really supports the minion playstyle other than the plus levels. That would be ooh. But I mean, I think that's a
are you a
step.
minion defender?
I mean, I think that's a step in the in the heading in the right direction though, in terms of like trying to get a little bit more balance, because it is like at this point, and I always say this, PoE1 is the game with the meaningful combat. PoE2 doesn't have meaningful combat when it comes to bosses at the end game. Like maybe
You gotta play parry builds, dude. Get on that parry game, and then you'll
sure,
get that meaningful experience.
You parry the boss
Oh, you
once,
can
and then
have
you
that.
blow it up in one hit. All right, got it.
Yep.
Parry
you're right.
gameplay. Intended parry gameplay. No, Cal, you can have parry. I'm gonna take the other shit. Okay, you can have parry. It's fine. Just like you can have thorns.
I don't want thorns anymore. I've peaked with
No.
thorns. We're moving on.
Okay.
We're on the parry now.
I watched a video where a guy was doing his first time like blind playthrough of PoE2, and him and his girlfriend were dueling together on console. And he picked Sunder Warrior, and she picked Parry Huntress.
Oof.
And by the time they got to Act 3, they were like, "Man, this game is hard." I'm like, it's hard. I'm like, yeah. I'm surprised you made it that far. Like,
Yeah. Parry builds are rough.
Are they still together? Do you
that's
know?
what I was saying. I mean, good God, dude.
Oh, bless
That's
their
hilarious.
heart.
Maybe he played Path of Exile 1. It was like, Sunder's OP in Path of Exile 1. I want to play Sunder in Path of Exile 2.
I liked Old Sunder. I don't know what they did to him. They murdered my boy. Old Sunder had fun weight to it, though. I don't know if you guys play. Was it when they nerfed it 0.3? They like reworked its speed or something. I don't remember.
So Sunder was the first build I ever played in PoE2. It's like the first character I made, and what happened was there was bug, but basically Aftershock from Sunder would hit multiple times. So you would do an Aftershock Sunder build with I forget where it splits fissures, and you would effectively hit like 27 times or something. Hit like 3.
Jesus.
And so it would absolutely back in the day, like on launch when we had all dog shit gear and I didn't know what I was doing and all that. I was like one tapping every boss because you could like break his armor and then hit, and it would do 9 Sunders in a row with the 3x, and then that would hit multiple times. It was absolutely disgusting.
Damn.
Yeah, Sunder used to be a bossing skill, and now they're trying to make it into a mapping ability, but it's kind of like not the best at mapping either. Like it's like in a weird place. Sunder used to kind of have an identity, and now it doesn't.
Yeah, I used to use it for bossing on weird builds. It was a good consume armor break, and boom. Was it guaranteed crit when you consume armor break? I think is what it did.
Crit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was fun. Okay, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you nailed it for me, Miso, with like if we had more difficult build progression, but I think that DM was right that we have to get balanced to a better place before we could potentially add another layer behind Uber Arbiter. I think it was Mark that said that they squished the tiers down. Like I think all the bosses used to have 4 tiers, and it was like an extra 20 million life on those final tiers, and they squished that down because the bottom was so far away from being able to do that they didn't know what to do, and they removed it.
That's correct, but they also said they were significantly nerfing everyone's damage, and at the top, like they thought the better builds were going to have, not the absolute top, but like the better of what people were going to achieve type builds for like 500k DPS. Like that's that's what they said.
Oh yeah.
So like we are like I'm actually okay with that being like if Arbiter's 3.5 million or whatever HP and 500,000 DPS. I mean that's still like not a very long fight. I think that'd be pretty cool to see the balance a little bit more of a state like that, as long as mapping isn't an absolute fucking slog. It'd be great to see some real boss fights. I mean, for me, the original sales pitch of PoE 2 was it said 100 unique bosses, and like, when's the time we tune into everybody's stream when it's like, oh, Quinn's about to do hardcore, Viper or whatever, and we all tune in to see him die, right? Like that's like that's PoE 2 to me. It's like the boss scene and what it's become with like just the cast on crit comment, like just farming for mere shit is just it's just not me, man. I know there's a lot of people that love the economic side and all of that of the game, but it's just so not what the game is for me. So I absolutely hope that we do get. And I'm not saying all needs to go 0.2 where it's nothing but a patch nerf and everything gets destroyed, but there's a lot of outliers and a lot. Actually, to be honest, not just outliers. Like the whole fucking balance of bossing just feels wrong to me. When it comes to like uber bossing in this game currently.
Yeah.
I like
When
how
do you-
we're talking about low damage, and DM's mind immediately wanders to Quinn.
Jan, I mean, because he's the it's the most enjoyable stream to watch because you actually get a boss fight. Like,
Yeah, he's ramping right now.
Yeah, he's
I
ramping.
think.
It's super unenjoyable to watch somebody just one shot everything immediately. Like that's not a fun time.
Yeah. I mean, when do you guys think they'll be able to approach like the balance? Do you think they're approaching balance for next patch, or do you think it's like a 1.0 post 1.0 thing where they
Just from my developer brain, like to me, it's so hard to balance all this stuff until you have all the weapons and classes in. Like if the core of the game revolves around all ascendancies having access to all weapons, that's when the like extra polish of balance would start. For me at least, like because I remember it was specifically with StarCraft 2. They had this really like bad method of it. They said they were going to get ahead of development by balance testing stuff before it was ready, and they ended up just wasting like hundreds of man hours and like over exhausting the team and stuff. Like I think it was one of those like Blizzard tell-all books or something. But like you have to like it can lead to a bad work mentality if you're like getting too ahead of that stuff. I don't know if that's where they think at all, but to me, like the balance starts when you have every weapon in the game.
I also believe it's post 1.0. I agree. The builds are what we consider emergent gameplay, and we can't expect them to realistically, like we all want hundreds of new skills and supports, right? Like we all want that. So it's like you can't expect them to dump all of that stuff in the game and then also have like their 20-man Q&A team or whatever be able to actually parse through all of that enough to be able to defeat the entire community worth of builds. The numbers are not in their favor. Like the builds will arise, and then they have to rebalance after.
But to think about it on the other side, don't you think that the 1.0 is where they set the baseline for what the game should be like, as opposed to like, hey, the game's gonna be like this, and then massively nerf everything or like scale everything like differently, and then also
I don't
like
believe so.
wouldn't it be easier to like set a baseline and then make skills to complement like meet those baselines rather than like make a bunch of skills then I'll balance them again later?
I mean, in an ideal world, I would agree with you. That'd be preferable. In terms of what like I think they're actually aiming for, I don't think that's what they're aiming for. I think they're aiming to have the content in the game. So I think that they very much want to have what they've said the whole time: a full campaign, a good end game, and swords. Like I think that's something they are sticking to. Like I think they want those things in the game for 1.0. So what I would imagine is we get the 0.5 in-game rework. Maybe we get some balance changes. I doubt it. If we're already seeing delays, I think they're fucking struggling over there. And balance changes historically have seemed to be something that like is some of the hardest for them. So like I don't think that they are giving us significant balance changes here. I would imagine they're focused primarily on new content and making sure the new content's not busted like 0.4 in a way that fundamentally ruins the league, since we're going to have a 6-month league. I would doubt with that they're going to partake in balance changes is one of the things that ruins the games. We've had arguably horrible balance since the launch of the game. 0.1 had like the Gimling Legionnaire. 0.2 was Lightning Spear. We've had Lightning Arrow, Roa dominating, and now we had like basically everyone's realized Blood Mage cast on Crit Comet, though arguably that's been for multiple leagues. So like the game's never really been balanced, and I recognize that. Okay, I don't think it's going to be balanced for 1.0 either. I do think what they want is to have the content in the game so people are like, oh, this actually has a lot to do to be able to start gaining the longevity of player base over the years from the people that are coming back for the league launches. I think a lot of those players aren't actually going to get into the state where they're actually getting, dissected and removed from the community because they recognize all of the balance and the in-game problems. I don't think most people even get there. I think maybe they open up a stream and see like, oh, that looks like an insane build, and then like I don't think they know the game well enough, neither do I, to know where all of the issues arise in the balance. I think they fundamentally just want to be able to look at the game and be like, oh, it has a full campaign, has an in-game. It seems like there's a lot here. Maybe I'll check out next league. And I think that's probably what they're aiming for.
It's just not far up enough the issues list, basically, is what you're saying, right? Because I would argue that's kind of the main reason why that's probably not addressed like every single patch as well. Because in the end, that's not what driving. I don't think having the game not perfectly balanced or even unbalanced at times isn't really driving anyone to really quit the game or like get on a game like that. Because I hear tons of people in my chat every day having a lot of fun with those completely unbalanced builds. So it's like that is definitely not an issue where I would think they would go like DEFCON 5 about it, right? So it's just going to be a continuous process, I would think. But also, like Cal said, it's probably going to be more of a focus when actually everything, content-wise, classes and ascendancy is actually in the game, and then it's like that. I think on the issues list, that is for me also personally not something that is far up, because in the end it just means people get to run around a PvE game with ridiculous power, do bosses very quickly, have mostly have some fun on the side, like, and just be ridiculous for a little bit. I don't think that's a big problem overall, right?
I think I don't know where it was Mark or it was Palstron or maybe both. They were saying how like they didn't really like, this was back in 0.2 when Lightning Spear was such a dominant meta. They were saying like, it's a problem if Lightning Spear is so dominant multiple leagues in a row, but if it's just one league and people are having fun, that's the most important thing. Like as long as people are enjoying the game and having fun, that's all that matters.
Agreed. Very good take. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that all from, I mean, to me, like, it's, I don't play group play, and I don't play the economy game. I'm not trying to, like, say those people don't matter, because they absolutely do. Some people, like, there's a large portion of players that their goal is divines per hour, or whatever you want to call it. They're not wrong in how they play the game, and they're always going to change that balance, and as long as they're having fun doing with it, sure. I don't engage with it, so my experience is never ruined by whether something's overpowered or not. I don't know. It's very different for me though. I swim in the mud with my builds, so we don't do the rich people stuff. Except for a build I'll show in a little bit. Let's talk about uniques. I think uniques are a hot topic. I think I've heard you talk about uniques a lot in PoE too, DM. Like most people in general just say the game needs more and more uniques. We're lacking uniques. I want to talk about quickly 0.4. We got a bunch of buffs to uniques. That was a big step in the right direction. A lot of body armors got buffs. I used several unique body armors this patch. The Blood Mage one, Kucher of Crimson, Brass Dome, Moriors. Like they're all very good this patch. Vertex is an outlier. I don't know if that one's going to survive the patch. I think constricting command changes were also very good. So I think uniques, like the ones that got changes, overall, I'm pretty happy with. But what are your guys' thoughts on specifically the uniques they touched up in this recent patch? Do you think is there any like bad ones you're still locked in on, or are you overall happy with the one? Like they're doing a good job, right? With what we've got.
I mean, I can go first if you want.
Sorry.
I think the Volborns were specifically probably my favorite part of the league. I think well, there's two things I look for when I look at uniques. Number one, I think, is very often like a huge portion of the reason that people play the longevity of like PoE1 leagues, which is like chase uniques, right? People want like, okay, there's like a Giga unique I want, I'm going to chase and get it. I think in this league, it would have been like Vertex you mentioned, or the Adziri, like Energy Show, Vol, chest, the variant of it, right? So it's like having uniques that are actually like fairly valuable and specifically rare, because I think that's one problem with Headhunter. Like Headhunter is really good. You could argue too good. And it's also pretty fucking common. So it's not really worth anything. So having uniques as strong as that, I don't have a problem with uniques being as strong as the Headhunter. I actually like that. I think it's cool to have them, but they kind of have to be like they have to be chase uniques. They have to be something you work towards, not just like, oh yeah, slot in a headhunter. Like, of course you're going to have one. They're like 2 divines. So that's the one I look for. And then the other type of unique I'm looking for, which comes back to your point about the 0.4 in this league in particular, is like build enabling uniques or kind of things that offer something that normally are not offered previously. We got reverse chill out of the league is a notable one. We got for me, my favorite one of the league would be the blood buckler. So now, you got the blood buckler that is doing the corrupting blood. That's probably my favorite unique because I did probably my favorite build of all time from that league. From that unique as an example. So like those are the two things I want out of uniques. I know there's this whole like conversation that always happens around like, well, there's 400 uniques and 3 of them are dog shit. And it's like, okay, but like if you got it early when you're leveling, you're going to be pretty happy. Like what you actually mean about like them being dog shit is like people aren't using them in game, FUB gun builds or whatnot. Like they're just not the number one. But it's like, okay, yeah, like 300 of them of the 400, they're fucking dog shit in that regard. But like stuff like Hexer's Robe, I was using that in an SSF playthrough. I got that thing. I'm like, I'm just gonna throw that on. It actually works. Like okay, regenerate some health. It's decent. Like some of them are just like, replaceable uniques, and I'm fine with that. But for me, when I look for uniques, chase uniques and offering something that is otherwise like not offered that I can't get elsewhere, then maybe enables a certain type of build or a weird interaction somewhere. And we did get more of those in the league, and I enjoyed that. I do think we probably need to start considering the concept of having like tier zeros in the game as opposed to like everything's fucking tier 1.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I was actually gonna mention that. I was like, did you guys know that there's no tier zeros in Path of Exile 2? There's only tier 1s. That's the highest one. Yep. Tier 1 is
I didn't
the
realize there was
highest
no
tier
tier zeros. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
I knew Headhunter was tier 1, which always blew my mind, but
yeah, I think this brings back the conversation that I had a long time ago. I think this was in 0.2 actually. It was when I was thinking about this. But right now, the uniques from the pinnacle bosses are terrible. Nobody uses that shit. Like the only thing that you really use is like, well, Mariah's, but that's not a chase unique, right? You get that pretty dang easily and whatever, right? But like, there's not really that much chase uniques from the bosses. Like, there's not really much of a reason to do most pinnacle bosses right now. You're like the one that you're gonna do is like maybe you're gonna do Arbiter for the prisms, but that's like literally a
Zarok
crap
against the darkness.
Yeah, but that's
if you count that.
Yeah, but those are like such it's like a weird thing, right? I know last week we talked about this, or was it last week, the one with Dreamcore, talking about how like the belts are a kind of cool thing where you get the drop really often, but it's like you roll it and like you have to get the good roll. I think there's room for both, and I think there needs to be both, where there's a one that's like it's rare and it doesn't drop, and when you get it you pog out, and also the one that drops often and you can gamba on it. And I don't think there's anything right now that I can say is like you drop it and you're like, oh, this is insane. Like there's nothing that I really say, like, at least for the pinnacle boss. Dark's not a pinnacle boss. Like the pinnacle bosses right now, their drops are pretty abysmal. And in 0.1, you weren't like that. Like Hoa, chase unique, right? People were pogging out about Hoa. You also Ingenuity from Ritual, that was also really good. And then of course Olroth had something still has something right now, which is great, right? But then Arbiter, you also had the Mariah's, but also like I don't know, was Chicken Leg used then? I don't think it was, but it was like a lot more of the bosses at the were, they had something really good that you were chasing for. And right now it's pretty much most pinnacles don't have anything you're really chasing for.
I think you raised a really good point, because I was about to counterpoint your first thing with, will any unique dropped from a pinnacle boss, whether it is easy or hard, will that ever be a chase unique? Because you can just target farm it basically, and even if the drop chance is like 5% or something, you will be able to basically target farm that. But then you said you drew the line to the PV1 current Mirage League with the belts, for example. I think that is actually the answer to that. To have certain uniques drop in a way where, yes, you may drop the unique on 20 tries, you may drop the unique 5 times, but there's certain roll ranges that make it so that it's still going to be super, super exciting to identify that unique and be like, oh my god, I hit the perfect one. And that chance is going to be incredibly low. And therefore, then it becomes a chase unique. I think as an example, even though that item is incredibly niche and I wouldn't even call it a chase unique or something, but the Scattering Calamity one from Kulamak is like a good example for that, because you get it a lot. You can get it a lot, but getting the right rolls on that item may make it, for the specific niche builds that I've seen, make it like a chase item like that. And I think that could be really cool, because that alone would be a huge reason to just farm pinnacle bosses over and over again. And ever since we don't even get experience anymore from the pinnacle content, there's just no reason to. You have your if you're doing a choir build, you get like a choir on trade. If you're playing SSF, you can even there get a choir pretty easily from Zesh. You do like 10 Zesh tries at maximum, and if you're not super unlucky, you get it. And that's it. Ingenuity, if you want an ingenuity that is just the regular one and you don't want the perfectly min-max corrupted one or whatever, that's super easy to get. That's it. And I think that is a really, really good idea to make pinnacle bosses like really desirable to farm again, to have these kind of chase uniques that are at one stage are farmable, but you have these like little roll ranges. And
I
yeah,
agree.
that could be really cool.
I agree with one caveat, which is it needs to be like a watcher's eye or something where you once you identify it, everyone fucking knows what it is, because it can't be like where you put it in the abyss thing, you see what the first 3 rows are, and then you're like, oh, this is not one of those, and then you just like, because you can remove it, then just like fucking sell it without it being that needs to not be a thing. In order, so that they actually have value before they're identified, so that they're not just full with the market's just full of cheese ones that are already dead, but they look unidentified. But yeah, no, I like the concept of trying to get the correct version of something as well. Yeah.
I also think that
I think Prism. Go ahead.
I was just say that I also think that like the stuff from Kulamak is just way too like, what is a good roll? Like, unless you're really deep into like the stuff, like most people don't know what a good roll is. I don't know what a good roll is.
Just get game damage and crit. Then I'll do okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it sucks that because like they're just the outliers, but I think Prism of Belief and Against the Darkness are like almost there. Most of the problem with Prism of Belief is because there's so many skills with a 1 to 3 range on whether you get them. So you could not just get a bad skill, but you could also get a level 1 roll versus a 3 roll. So there's just so much variance there. 99% of the time you identify a Prism of Belief, you're going to miss. But literally 2 days ago, I just identified a Prism of Belief and I got +3 arc and sold it for a mirror. So, those chases do exist, but I think it needs to be a good range. And I think GGG did, what's the name of the boss from Mirage League that you farmed the belt from? I don't remember.
The black bar. Oh no, that the
black.
I know. No, it's not the black bar. The one you get when you use the black bar, you go in and fight him. Yeah, yes. I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
that guy. That belt is the perfect example of what a good farm unique should be. It is just it drops frequently. Most of the time, it identifies for trash. It kind of sells unidentified, but like you really want to be identifying it for those good rolls. Like that's where we need to hit. And the problem with I think Ingenuity belts is like right now the way it's set up, it's always doing like positives to both rings. So it's like most of them are good enough, and then the really good one is just like you don't really need it. Which is kind of lame. But it just sounds like in general we all want 6-7. It sounds like we all want just more chase uniques added to the game. Let's talk about gem skill levels. We talk about it all the time on the podcast, DM. What do you think the role of gem skim levels plays into, like, do you feel the pull away from uniques often because you see like this two-handed mace has +7 skills? Okay, you see, okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I don't even know if fundamentally the plus to levels is something I'm opposed to, like as a concept, as much as like the immediacy of it. Because like the problem for me is the second that I defeat the Miller, I'm opening up Una on a fresh playthrough to see if it has +1 to chaos skills or whatever. Like immediately. And then when I go to like the next act, if I find one that has +2, I don't even care what the other stats are. I put the +2 on. Like I don't calculate any of the other things into it. And then you can just, there's +2. I guess I'll re-go and slam that one and just hope it gets something. Like the only thing that matters is the plus to the level. So if I get plus to all, Well, then I'm using that staff. It doesn't matter if I have a good wand or, good thing. I'm taking the plus to all. It's just, I don't like the overriding of it. Basically making where it's like, oh, do I want to take this 60% spell damage? No, I don't. I'm taking plus to thing. You know what I mean? Like the other affixes just feel not useless because they still add on, but like it's not like I'm never going to buy, like, unless I have no pluses at all, I'm never going to buy a wand that's good that just doesn't have plus to level. Like there could be like a rare wand in there and the suffixes are full, but the prefixes are like pretty good. I'm never going to buy it. So I'm just going to wait for plus to level.
Yeah,
Glad you put that into perspective of the campaign.
I think it's really hard to get out of that world with the way that plus level scale, like not even scales, but like how much plus level we can get, because there is a problem with scaling on plus levels, especially on spells at the end game. I feel where it's like it's super incentivized for you to get plus levels. So if the damage formula for the end game for those skills wasn't as exponential, then people wouldn't be as incentivized to scale it. But you can't really fix that in the early game because you got to still keep the plus level scaling going when you're on your actual skill gem, right? So you can't like be like, okay, we're going to nerf the damage of the skill, like the plus levels, because those are all within reason of you getting as you're progressing. So you can't do that. But the problem right now is like every single act or every other act or whatever it is, you're getting a plus, like, you go from +1 to like +2 to +3 to +4. Like it moves up like pretty quickly. So where like you're always looking for that next plus level. If it was just like we could get maximum a certain amount of pluses, then you could make it so that it, between Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, +1 is still going to be the base, like, what you're looking for. That's going to be the best thing, right? So that way you're not like, oh, well, next act I'm going to get a +2 and I'm just going to slap that on because that's just the better thing. Well, if Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, all the best thing was +1, then you'd be like more incentivized to look at the other stats.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see that for sure. I wish that there was more times I was looking at prefixes, that carrying specifically more so in like a spell scenario, but because martial weapons, there's arguments for it, sure, but like I very often just find myself invalidating like the rest of spellcasting items when I get it just because it has plus to level. Just I'm sick of it being the only thing I'm really looking for,
Yeah. And I really don't want the solution to be add plus levels to all these uniques to like make them viable in the campaign. That's
absolutely
the worst.
Yeah, because the overarching problem is not necessarily just like the plus levels on its own. It's how much impact one plus level actually does. And that is especially felt in the campaign. It's not only a +1 and going from a +1 to a +2 in like Act 2 or something. That already is. It shouldn't be that big of a difference, in my opinion. It is a night and day difference once you get into Act 2 or something and you get a lucky hit and get like a stab with 60% spell damage and +2 or +3 instead of your +1 wand. That difference is insane. I don't think a lot of people or most people have like a huge issue with the concept of having plus levels, but the amount of impact it does is just it's way too much, especially in campaign, and then that just keeps being carried into endgame as well, right? Or
Well, and also like for me, one of the funnest parts of the game is like when I'm playing through the campaign on a fresh start specifically, and I get a weapon, and then I get a regal. I'm like, oh shit, I got a regal. Now I can regal it, and I get a couple exiles. I'm like, oh, I can exile. What am I gonna get? Like, I'm not gonna do that in this scenario of like if I get like a regal plus like a couple early exiles or something, and I have a +1 like wand. I'm probably like never going to slam that. Like maybe it give me a little bit in the beginning, but like I'm just gonna wait until I get like I have this like. Do I hit it or do I wait until I get the +2, and then try that one, and then I'll get the +2, and then it's like, and then, okay, I'll regal it. It hits a bad regal. And it's like, I'm not even gonna all the way invest in this because I'll just wait till I get another +2. It's like you get in this thing where you're like, you like almost gear fear from Tarkov if you ever played that, but with like your currencies on it, just because you're getting fucking hamstringed by like I only want to make sure I slam if that plus the level is right. Like I think you should be able to pick up gear and it's like immediately slam. Yeah, you can. I mean, you could do it without. You could just totally ignore plus the levels if you want. But like realistically, you're kind of sitting around waiting. So when I find myself doing that, then it's like, okay, well, That probably shouldn't be the feeling. Like you should probably like you got a good weapon and being instead you're being like, okay, well now I have to wait for the next one, because I'm just on the end of the curve. Like I'm just before Geonor. I might get an Act 2 good +2. I'm not going to slam this even though I'm going into the boss because +2 is upcoming. Like I kind of wish that wasn't a thing.
I think it's the
That's
biggest.
so funny. I love that term, gear fear, because I know these two specifically. Like, we've had talked about league start plans and like how we approach them before, and these two specifically, I remember their league start. I don't know if you've changed this philosophy, but you guys go out of your way to try and not spend any currency at all during the campaign. You're trying to save every bit of it to get to the end game because that's when you can make the better gear. Why waste currency on these low tier wands when I can get that good +5 wand and then start spending on that one later? That gear fear, that or currency spend fear, whatever you want to call it. That's real.
I hate that shit. Yeah, I think the funnest part of the campaign is like, oh, I got a good upgrade. Oh, I got something like the progression of the campaigns actually feels good. Is the thing outside of the plus to level stuff. Like the campaign is the best part of your character progression. You're getting new jewelers. You get every level actually matters. Like all the progression way up until you start maps feels really good, except for this issue.
I think
also
is the biggest issue is on spells. Like you can get a +3 life sprig at level 0 and use that all the way until the fucking maps, right? But you can't if you had a life sprig equivalent for martial weapons, that would not work. Like you need to like upgrade your gear as you go. So for martial weapons, I actually do slam my the league start's a little bit different. I'm a little bit more like stingy at league start, but if it's like a second, third character, I am slamming my gear, and progressing it. And every single time I'm looking at the merchants, like, can I get a better weapon or whatever? For spells, yeah, you could get a plus something at the beginning and carry you for multiple acts.
Agreed. It is heavier on spells. Yeah, go on, Ribbit.
No, I was just saying that that like to DM's point, there's no greater feeling in PoE2 than on a campaign progression to hit that insane weapon. I just had it the other day. Just like good +2 staff, gambled, augment orb, hitting 90% spell damage, then hitting the Rego orb, and then going for the abyss modifier and everything. That it's just like DM said, it's kind of crazy how good the gear progression can feel at these stages, and you have these these insane moments. But at the same time, sometimes
so good.
it's the same way it can be frustrating, the same way it can be just amazing at times. It's where the gear progression actually shines. I talked so much today. We had like an impromptu podcast before this podcast for 3 hours, so I think I talked about a million words today.
Well, it's the most fun. It's like I just don't want to get involved. It's the most fun of the game because like when are you actually going to be like Exile slamming this? You get into maps and you start crafting. You're not really just like yellow Exile and shit. So like you get in this point where it's like you feel. I mean, yeah, sure you can, sure, but like you kind of get in this point where you're not where you're stuck in an in between where you kind of don't want to use your currency because it has more value, or you get to Act 4 and trade 3 exalts and get some that's better anyway. But you're never really gonna be slamming normal exalts like later game, literally anyway. So you get in this like kind of in between where it's like the funnest part is like YOLO slamming a gear while you're in the campaign. So it's you got to do it. That's why SSF feels like kind of like a lot better because you just get the currency you actually get to use them. You never really get to use these currencies if you're like kind of min-maxing the fun out of it yourself. So it's like I always just try to like fucking slam it and go every time I get something. Or else the exalts mean a lot in the campaign. You get out of the campaign, they don't mean fucking anything anymore. So it's anyway.
Yeah,
ranting a bit about it.
It's such like a interesting balance. Like during the it's like what you said, right? SSF, it feels so much better to like slam your gear, and I don't even. It's like an interesting thing though, also because I remember in Lawcall's episode we were talking about the power of gear, right? Do you think that we would get as many of these pog moments about like, oh my god, it's crazy, we got this insane piece of gear during the campaign if gear wasn't as powerful in the campaign as it was? Because I don't think I ever feel that in Path of Exile 1. Like I've never felt like, wow, this is an insane weapon, and I'm like super happy to get it in Path of Exile 1. Like sometimes it's like, oh, cool, this is really cool, right? This is great. This is going to be, helping me throughout the campaign. But I'm never feeling like, wow, what the heck? This weapon is absolutely insane. Holy.
I that happens like that. Like I don't know what builds you play. I play axes normally. So like I always play Sunder, level with Sunder and shit.
Yeah, I
Like
play
getting
lot
a
of
good
that.
axe right around like act. You're in Sarn encampment. You pick up an axe and you get a good slam. You get a good vol axe or something with like a 5 link, a 4 link, and
Yeah, getting an early 5
get-
link
yeah.
feels really good.
getting an early 5 link feels good. I'd argue the linking system just like in general. I like better in PoE too. But I think that happens in PoE once. But I'm more of an axe handy, so getting a good 2-hander feels like kind of good. I can't speak to spells. I don't level that much with spells in PoE 1.
Well, before we move on from the unique discussion, can we bring up the Adonia's Ego build I have in the build of the week, Miso? I want to talk
Sure.
about Adonia's Ego. I think it would be fun to do a deep dive on a unique. This is a unique that we showcased previously on the podcast with a rabbit build with Blade Zero. Blade Zero is doing it again with me, and we didn't really talk about Adonia's Ego in depth then. We just talked about all the other weird shit Rabbit was doing. Adonia's Ego is one of the few outliers uniques in this game. It is a wand that comes with the buff Pinnacle of Power, and the way it scales is absurd. It gives you more elemental damage per power charge consume. But what's interesting about the buff is it snapshots. So it is a build where you can use an entire second set of gear to amplify the buff. And with what we did with Blade Zero was we have like 8 pieces of gear we're swapping out. We have like Struggle Scream, which gets 4 annoyance on it. We have a rare chest with 4 sockets with quality in it with an annoyance on it. And like we basically min-maxed this snapshot on the buff to as much as it can. And what it does to, we're doing this with Thorns. This is Group Arbiter doing 170 million damage during this volley. This is like the most reflect damage. Like Thorns aside, this is just ridiculous amounts of damage scaling we're getting. It ends up being like over 300% more damage when you're doing this buff snapshot stuff. Now, it requires you to do this at the beginning of every map where you have to do this gear swap to get the power charges. You see me doing it right here. Every single map in Boss Effect has to do this weird gear swap to get this power snapshot. But if you're doing any elemental build, like we're talking like, this is just doing this with Thorns. If you do this with Spark, Cast on Crit, you're talking billions of DPS. We saw Rabbit use it with the Adonia's Ego, Choir of the Storm looping stuff, did some crazy stuff with this. What are your guys' thoughts on a unique like this existing in the game, where it has A, this much damage scaling, but B, also interacts in a weird way where you're snapshotting with gear swapping? This is obviously is not for everyone. I was miserable when playing this build. Gear swapping is awful, but I just want to have a discussion about Adonia's Ego. It made Thorns one-shot Group Uber Arbiter, which was before doing base Uber Arbiter 24 million life, was like a 5-minute fight. Like the damage amplification you get from it is absurd, but there's also just the added effect that you're doing gear swaps. It's it's an outlier of uniques in this game. It's one of the few unique weapons that's actually just outscales like mirror tier items. So it's just very weird. The debate in my chat has been, is it getting deleted or not? Like, should this exist in the game? And I'm curious what you guys think. Let's start with DM.
If they're aware of this is something that would be removed. I'd bet money on it. Like you're literally getting power from gear you're not equipping. Like there's I don't know why this would exist.
I didn't even talk about like heightened charges like doubling the buff. Like just this wand existing as is just crazy.
It's cool. I mean, they nerf shit all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if it would nerf. What I'm watching the gameplay here, where you're moving like a literally entire set to snapshot the buff. Nah, get that shit out here, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's get that out here for sure.
Yeah, when you have to snapshot your entire fucking character, I think that's a little bit too much. I don't mind snapshotting. I think snapshotting is like a cool thing where it's like, oh, you have this like little, secret hidden, like, hey, you do it this way and then you get a little bit of extra efficiency on your skill or whatever. It's like whatever, you get extra power. But like when it's this level of power and also this level of snapshotting where you're snapshotting your entire character, I think that's a little bit too
It's as cringe as it gets. It's as cringe as it gets.
Yeah, like
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's the part that makes PoE great. But I think this is an exact perfect example of a conversation we were having earlier about whether or not they can do the balance before 1.0. how the fuck are they going to find that this exists? You know what I mean? When they come out with this cool, like, oh, this item that does this, like, are they going to test enough to make sure that this doesn't like interact with all of these different items? You're like snapshotting them. Probably not. So like shit like this will get missed all the time. To like back to the wider scale point of like, will balance happen before 1.0? I don't think so. This is a great example.
Yeah, but you've played Adonia's Ego.
Yeah,
right?
and
Talk about it.
I played it for the concept, but I only had the gear swap of actually just swapping in Red Flare Conduit, getting the power charges, and then hoping for
We
the
went
double
stupid
buff.
with it.
And that was already like my limit of what I could do, because yes, it's a very, very cool thing.
Watch
and
this. This
I
is
think
we're gonna one shot him with Donut here. It's 183 million damage in one instance, with the Donia's Ego doing all the scaling.
It's
gone. Boom.
It's already like an incredibly niche thing because no one is willing to do that. As soon like I think honestly I think that build video on my YouTube channel has like the highest dislike ratio of any of my videos. It's like
Really?
85.
That's
It's
so
only
funny.
like 80. It's only like 85% like dislike ratio or something. When I usually like build videos, mostly have like 98% like ratio or something. And that one has like around 85 or something, because people went in going like, oh my god, this is crazy. Wait, I have to swap an item and have to wait for basically 30 to 40 seconds every single time I need to get that back. Yeah, no. So I feel like it is already a very, very niche thing. It's a very cool interaction. I don't think that is intended in any way. I don't think if they would be fully aware of that amount of damage scaling on that singular item with that singular buff, I think it's just gone outright.
Yeah. Obviously, the
it's very
damage
cool,
scaling is absurd, but just the concept, I think we all agree of like snapshotting with like gear swaps should not exist. And like it's cool in a vacuum, but it should never be a balance point. Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, for me, I draw the line at like 1 or 2, and even with 1, people will be like, "I'm not playing this build."
Yeah, I won't even swap one support gem because I'll forget and then just end up screwing up or something because of it.
That was always like a baseline that I wanted to any of my builds, that there's no gear or gem swapping involved. Like weapon swapping is totally fine, obviously. Weapon swapping is part of the game, and everyone should always make use of weapon swapping no matter what the build is. But for my builds that I always do, and I peddle to other people, basically, I always have the baseline expectation for me that there's not going to be any swapping. It might happen sometimes with builds that are meant to be very, very early league starters and very, very budget friendly, that there might be a version where it's like, oh, okay, to keep this budget friendly, but you can still do any content easily, you might have to do one swap when you go into like a default pinnacle boss or whatever it is. But I always think most people gravitate towards builds that don't require any gear swapping, and I fully understand why that is the case, because it's just you don't want to do that, or at least most people don't.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's start wrapping up then. Let's move on to the actual build of the week. Me and Miso have builds. Let's start with my build. Mine's going to be real fast because it's from one of the fastest creators out there. I just wanted to give a shout out to the legend Guy That Dies. He released a really awesome campaign speedrun guide. It is an hyper edited. It's 45 minutes going over all the important stuff from each of the acts. It was it was so well edited. It is very well done. I highly it doesn't matter if you play Mercenary or not. There's a lot you can learn from this video. It's freaking awesome. So shout out the Guy That Dies. And if you're trying to improve your speed clears leading up into 0.5, this video is awesome. Doesn't matter if you play Mercenary, you should check it out. It's just a general every checkpoint where you should use little tricks and it's super well written. It's super well done. Just shout out the Guy That Dies, and this is an awesome guide.
Gonna have him on the podcast hopefully very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully, if he's down.
Sweet.
Yep, that's it. I just wanted to give a speedrunner shout out.
Yep. My build is once again from one of my favorite creators, Circle Circus Games. He has come back with another really cool build where instead of spamming Hammer of the Gods, he's spamming Monk Bell. It's using a very similar kind of like What is it
I
called?
saw this one.
Setup, where you're using Zerfy's Infamy to make it so that your skill costs rage. It gives like an extra rage cost, and I guess that for some reason overrides the combo cost of Bell to where you're just going around and spamming Bell by using Zerfy's Infamy to you're consuming HP to get rage, or no, not rage, glory. Sorry, you're consuming glory to go and like actually spam the bell, which I'm just like, this is ridiculous. It's definitely not practical, but it's really funny. It's really cool. And maybe he will turn into something practical. Who knows? Single target, it
What do you mean
seems a
not
little
practical?
Bit like what
So
single
this
target
is what,
looks
like, the
practical.
hammer
to me right now.
He showed 2 videos for the hammer build, so this might be his first video of the bell. Who knows? This is funny. I'm guessing he's using Bone Shatter. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, he's
For
using Bone
mobility?
Shatter to travel. So he's got like this like interesting thing where he's using Bone Shatter cast on minion death to cast curses, which the curses make cost life because he's using blood magic, which generates him enough glory to cast a bell. So every Bone Shatter he does is to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's got it even down to a point where like actually not on this bell build, but I don't know about this bell build, but his hammer build, he can just spam hammer without even doing anything other than spamming hammer. Like he's just like straight up hammer is the only thing he uses against bosses.
Damn. An evolution of the Bone Shatter mobility tech. That's so crazy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
This guy's been I mean, he's been cooking real hard this league.
Oh, he's easily one of the best. Like he does some weird shit.
Yeah, I saw Prada hang
cool.
out on his stream the other day too. It's kind of cool. Japanese YouTuber.
Oh, this guy streams. Awesome.
Yeah, Japanese YouTuber, but he speaks English. So if you speak English, you can go in there and chat with him.
Does he stream only on YouTube, or does he stream
only
on
streams on
Twitch?
YouTube. He only streams on YouTube.
Cool. This is sick. Well done, man. Was his name Circle something?
Circle Circus
Circle
Games.
Circus.
Yep, Circle Circus Games.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Oh, thanks for coming back on, DM. Are you checking out? I assume you're checking out Diablo, right? Have you been doing like pre-playing, or are you like Are you just like going in?
I mean their actual like live stream for the announcement and like going through the expansion, all that is literally right now during this podcast. So like that's how much
shit.
like I'm not doing anything in preparation for it. I'm not watching it. I'm here instead. So I will be playing it. I got video I gotta put out on it. They want me to do like a recap video or whatnot. So I'll have like a thing just like covering it about what the thing actually is, and I'll play it until I get bored, and then I'll stop playing it. How about you? You playing it?
Yeah, I'm gonna I haven't played since the Vampire League. I think I was season 3, so I'm actually kind of hyped. Or 2. Okay, damn, jeez, it's been so long. I'm actually hyped. I'm actually hyped to like. I'm sure it's a very different game even without the expansion. So I'm hyped. I don't know. Misa, you're playing too, right?
Yeah, probably. With the current timeline of PoE 2,
Less hyped.
I think it's a little bit inevitable. And they're doing the whole like revamp with the skill system and whatever. I don't think it's gonna like change that much in terms of like how long it's gonna take to finish, like feel like I'm done with the game. But it's something a little bit more interesting, something a little more spicy. I haven't played since, so basically like last time I played was when they revamped the gearing, when they revamp the items and stuff like that. So this time they're revamping the skills. So we'll see, right? I think they also came out of the pit back in that update back then. So I'm sure I'll have a good time. It's kind of steep, $40 for an expansion that I'm probably gonna be playing for a week. Well, but you know what? This is what happens when there's such a long league.
You're not gonna play Rabbit, or are you? Are you gonna dabble?
$70? I don't have $70.
Oh, you don't even know
to
the
spend on
base
that
game.
no.
That's right.
I don't even have the base game. No. I just don't like. No, I don't have $70 to spend. If it was like free to play or something, I would have probably checked it out. But no, I just like I don't think so. It's yeah, I don't know. Maybe if someone from Blizzard is watching, maybe you wanna, I don't know,
I doubt.
lend me the game or something. I'm down to, like, I
Lend?
wanted to, I kind of
Lend?
thought, I don't know. I'm fully open to giving it back after a week. I don't care. No, I mean, like I kind of saw the opportunity to maybe do a video. Playing those are popular, right? Playing Diablo 4 after 5,000 hours of PoE 2. Those videos always do well. So I would be open to do something like that and give my unbiased opinion about that. But I don't know. I'm super happy just doing more campaign runs on PoE 2 as well.
Cool. Well, DM, thanks for coming on. Where can the people find you? Where you play and stuff?
You can Google Darth microtransaction, and you will find a whole bunch of stuff and some AI generated articles, probably. So, any of those platforms that come up from the search, boys. Thank you for having me on. It's always good to chat, and enjoy your 36 more days of waiting.
Jesus. That was the first time I heard it in days. 36. Oh, that hurts. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Days.
The live stream's not even for another 2 weeks.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that gap between the live stream and the 3-week wait is going to be interesting. Going to be a painful wait. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Enjoy D4 and have fun with 0.5. Miso, go ahead and get your shout outs.
Yeah, Miso X Shiro on Twitch and YouTube. I stream every single night. Still on Path of Exile 2. Probably going to play a little bit D4 when that comes out, but I don't know what we're going to do outside of that. I'm definitely not playing Path of Exile for the whole 36 days. I love the game, but
Don't love it that much.
Don't want to burn out early.
Go play Factorio. Get yourself a Factorio play.
Oh yeah. And we're never gonna see Miso ever again.
I was joking around. I might go back to Lost Ark.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh god.
Go ahead, Rabbit.
Hello, Diablo 4 streamer, Dead Rabbit here. I if you wanna watch me spend $70 on a game and regret it probably massively after 2 days, you can watch my stream. Also, I don't know. There might need to be some cutbacks in this household now since I'm kind of deciding to spend that money now. So you can follow me on Twitch with that. I don't know.
Dang. No, tell your viewers to donate to you. It's like, hey, I really would need Diablo 4. I don't have the money. It's getting tough this month.
No.
Please, I just need $70 for Diablo.
No, I'm already stooping to the level of playing Diablo 4. I'm not gonna stoop to the level of begging. So thank you.
Hey, maybe if Lawcall's playing, we could get like a group going,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, by the way.
level.
You guys enjoyed Diablo 4. I think the whole Diablo 4 bad easy points is overdone. That was a joke. Go have fun.
Yeah,
it looks
so
very
cringe of
promising,
you.
actually. It looks cool.
Yeah. I'm down to level together if you want to on Miso on launch. I'm going to be going in blind though. But yeah, I'll be playing on launch. Yeah, shout out to DM for coming on. Next week we are probably having Schwingy on as our guest, so it'll be another unfortunate speculation podcast as we got another week to wait for that announcement. But yep, thanks for hanging out, everybody, and remember to join Dead Rabbit chat and ask them about the campaign skip. Bye.
Fuck. That's not gonna be a thing.